considered detrimental to the nation's socio-economic development.
When the demonstrators came to Parliament, we received the petition, ostensibly meant for the Speaker, on behalf of Right Honourable Speaker, and on behalf of the leadership, the Speaker, I want to present the petition to your Right Honourable Speaker by having it laid on the table.
Mr. Speaker, this Parliament, I believe, will hold the police and the Ghana Armed Forces accountable as is required of us. Parliament remains a guardian of the fundamental rights and freedoms of citizens. We have a duty to preserve and protect our Constitution. We have a duty to safeguard our democracy, and we have a responsibility to ensure that Ghana remains a peaceful, stable country. We cannot achieve that if freedom of expression remains on attack, civil liberties are disrespected, and no punishment is meted.
We defer any referral today and discuss it at the leadership meeting tomorrow thoroughly before making a pronouncement.
So let's now run you through some of the demands that have been put forward by the youth wing of the National Democratic Congress as contained in that petition submitted to President Akufo-Addo earlier today. Shortly, we'll run you through some of them. First, they are asking the government immediately implement the recommendations of the Emile Short Commission inquiry report forthwith. In particular, pay compensations to all victims and direct the Attorney General to prosecute all culprits. We are also asking that beyond investigating all acts of violence perpetrated by officers of security agencies under your watch, they are asking government ensures that all victims get justice as required by law, and victims of acts of violence from Ijura, Ablikuma Central, Odododiodo, Banda, etc. must all not be denied justice. Thirdly, we are asking the government makes provisions towards providing decent jobs for the teeming youth of the country through proper structural economic reforms and business support for enterprises of young people. As you have displayed on your screen, we'll run you through the fourth demand by the NDC shortly. Fourthly, we are asking the government ensures the safety and the security of all Ghanaians. Fifthly, they are asking government stamps out corruption by prosecuting corrupt officials. In the Nana Addo-led administration, other than shielding them, we ask that there's a fierce urgency to halt the hopeless nature of cronyism that has crept into the government. Take steps to fulfill campaign promises to the good people of Ghana and respectful to the truth of this and truthful to the citizenry. And the seventh point, depoliticize the security services, introducing reforms to give true meaning to its independence. We charge that these reforms be led by experts in our country and not partisan appointees. The last one, instruct the Attorney General and the Ministry of Justice to improve the justice system and wean the judiciary of partisan political influence. So there you have it. Those are the 8 demands that have been put forward by the youth wing of the National Democratic Congress as contained in that petition they submitted to President Akufo-Addo earlier today. So let's now have a conversation on the back of this. Joining us via Zoom is information, Mr. Kojo Nkrumah. We have also been joined in studio by the Deputy National Youth Organizer for the NDC, Ruth Della Sedo. Now, thanks so much for your time on Newsnight.
You're welcome, and thank you once again for the opportunity.
It's been such a busy day for you. Generally, how was today's protest?
It's been such a busy week for us, you know, trying to put this whole thing together. I believe you are aware of the back and forth from the police and their initial refusal to grant us the permission, you know, sort of, or, you know, to allow us to go on without providing us with security. And we had to go back to the law and quote the law and let them know that the basis upon which they were, refusing us security was not worth it, because the very law, the EI that they were even basing the argument on was, flawed. It had elapsed. It was supposed to elapse, be in effect for just 3 months, and it had elapsed. And that means that was way back in March, and they were still referring to that. So IGP actually sent us another letter inviting us to his office. I was there together with my national boss, Honorable George Opariado Esquire, together with our 3 youth organizers in the Greater Accra region, and some members of parliament, Honorable Member of Parliament for Ningo Prampram and Honorable Member of Parliament for Ablekuma Central, I think, yes. And so we went there together with them, and we had a fruitful discussion. The IGP was actually apologetic. He thought that it wasn't necessary. We addressed the letter to him, and he thought that he should have the opportunity to respond, and not from the regional, command. And unfortunately, the regional commander, went by and did what he had to do, or what he did. But overall, he was quite apologetic, and he was ready to support us with his men. The only challenge was the routes we're going to take. Initially we wanted to take 3 routes, and they insisted that we know they don't have enough men. According to the police to citizen ratio, they didn't have enough men to man the demonstrations if we're going to use 3 routes. So they pleaded with us to compromise and agree on 1 route, of which we also thought that it made a lot of sense. So we compromised and agreed on 1 route, of which we embarked on today.
Okay. Help us understand, you are asking government to fully implement the recommendation by Emil Short after this Ayawaso incident. What specific recommendations can the NDC pinpoint and say that government has indeed not acted on these recommendations?
Thank you very much. Unfortunate incident at the glare of everybody. We saw on our videos, we saw on our social media, handles, where these men in uniforms were were putting people through brutality, molesting them, beating people up. In fact, a sitting member of parliament was heavily slapped. And this is unheard of. We don't think that we should be countenanced in a democratic dispensation in the 21st century. So the Emil Short Commission recommended that Double, who is supposed to be the bodyguard, the personal bodyguard of Sami Eoku, the national organizer of the MPP, was supposed to be prosecuted. Unfortunately, as we speak, nothing has been done about it yet, because the president has decided to put a white paper to rubbish the entire, recommendations that people of such worth like Emil Short, came together to recommend. And they also said that DSP Azugu was also supposed to be, to be prosecuted or interdicted, something of the sort, not too specific. But he was also supposed to face, the law. Unfortunately, that has also been quashed. They also recommended a holistic reform in the national security, ministry, so that we can actually look at people who we employ into the national security. We need to look at their backgrounds. We need to know what kind of mindset are they coming in. In fact, they even recommended that occasionally trainings on how to handle, human rights issues and all of that should be implemented, so that consistently they can be abreast with new trends and how they can go about handling human beings, Ghanaian citizens. Unfortunately, we don't believe that any of these things, has been implemented, and it's very unfortunate.
I'd like you to hold your gun for me. Let me bring in here the Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah. Now, thanks so much for your time on Newsnight. Now, Ruth and her people clearly are unhappy with the delay in the implementation of the recommendations from the Emil Short Commission. What explains the delay in fully implementing these recommendations?
Well, first, let me commend the Ghana Police Service for the very professional job that they've done today in supporting our colleagues from the NDC in going about their constitutionally allowed demonstration. Let me commend colleagues on that side. I think that to a large extent, they conducted a decent exercise, and they've drawn some things, or they've brought some things to the attention of government. My expectation is that the things that they have brought to the attention of government, as and when they are validated, can be responded to. If there are specific recommendations that she's mentioning that have not been implemented, I'm sure if indeed that's the case, there are things that government can examine. And if there are not things that are disagreed with in the Commission of Inquiry's report, white paper, government should be in a position to explain what is happening on those specific recommendations. Okay,
Honorable Minister, in the same report, because they're asking you for implementation, I want to take you back to the Emil Short report. Under operational 8.2, it says that it is recommended that as a matter of urgency, the police and national security develop protocols for assessment and rating of intelligence received and subsequent deployment of missions, if any. Today's hearing in Kumasi, when the Ashanti Regional Minister took his turn at the committee looking into this Ejura incident, the Ashanti Regional Minister made it very clear that when he received the report from Ejura about how the people seems to be coming at the police, he single-handedly instructed the military to take over or move into Ejura. This means this recommendation in the Emil Short clearly was not implemented. What is your take on that?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't mean that, because I know for a fact that a whole division has been set up at the National Investigative Bureau that is responsible for doing what they call intelligence analysis. I know the head of that division. I think what it may or what it could mean is that that has not been decentralized. I think we have to be very careful about making categorical or sweeping statements. In that specific instance, I know that the analysis division has been set up at the headquarters of the National Investigative Bureau. A whole team of persons have been put together who are now responsible for doing the analysis before the Joint Intelligence Committee proceeds to work on it. Does this mean that it has been decentralized or not? That may be the gap that we are finding. I don't know for a fact. But that does not mean that that recommendation has not been implemented. That is why I said that if there are specifics, and that's why dialogue is good, if there are specifics and they are raised, and there are matters that have not been maybe disagreed with by the white paper, we can then have those specifics examined. And if there's a need to maybe go further, even beyond what has been done, then we do. That's the beauty of a democracy. That's the importance of a democracy. So that within that dialogue, we can find what is outstanding and how to deal with it.
Okay, help us understand if this, there is another recommendation which they state that somebody like Double, and of course in the studio this evening, the NDC has mentioned that Double was supposed to be prosecuted. I want to know what government made of that recommendation. Did they find its way into the white paper? As well as DSP Azugu, who the committee also again said he should be taken off operational or command duties. Did these recommendations find its way into the white paper? If they did not, does it mean that government is not interested in these recommendations?
So two things. As I speak to you, I don't have a copy of the white paper with me here. I cannot tell which specifics these are. The ones I know from the top of my head, I will share with you. But that's why I said that, first of all, it's a good practice that people express what they have challenges with. Second, if indeed the things they are raising are things that were not disagreed with, we would have to go through a process of examining. So if the Attorney General was supposed to prosecute, then we would have to have a question to the Attorney General's department that, is it a matter of prosecution that is yet to start or hasn't started at all? So I think the big picture is that it is a healthy exercise we are going through. We can pick the details one after the other and begin to interrogate and to deal with them. My joy this evening is that our colleagues have had the opportunity to freely express themselves by going on a demonstration. The security agencies have been very supportive, even including the intelligence officers who worked with them to ensure that agents provocateurs, etc., were not in their midst. And tonight we have had the expression of a beautiful element of Ghanaian democracy. And hopefully we can get some resolution to some of the things which, if genuinely are outstanding, they raise, they talk about. For example, they talk about, I think, economic challenges. I think we're all very much aware of the kind of economic progress that was made in the last 3.5 years. And the warning that we were given earlier, that because of what was coming, there will be the need for us to sacrifice our economic gains and then proceed to use all of that, or a good chunk of that, to ensure that we protect lives. And right after that, the minister responsible for finance after that forewarned that we were going to go through a difficult economic recovery exercise. So work has already been ongoing. We have already started seeing the results. I think Q1, about 3.1% turnaround in the Ghanaian economy. So if today somebody says that there's economic hardship, The point that ought to be made was that this is what we've been talking about all along, and this is what we've been discussing is the path to recovery. And this is what we've been talking about as our various responsibilities on that recovery path. How do we work it together? If there are any specific outstandings, we examine and let the agencies responsible deal with them.
All right, kindly stay on for us. Now, let me come to you, Ruth. You're asking for government to stamp out corruption by prosecuting corrupt officials in his administration other than shielding them. You're asking for a fierce urgency to halt the hopeless nature of cronyism that has crept into government. Tell us more about these. If you can possibly mention some of these officials you're making reference to in this particular demand.
Thank you very much. We have been in this country where Galamsey has been a very, difficult, terrible issue confronting us, destroying our water bodies. And we had the president saying that he was going to put his presidency on the line in the fight against Galamsey menace. Unfortunately, in his quest to do that, he set up some committees which were supposed to supervise these actions. And it turned out that these committees were actually aiding those who were perpetrating this, evil deeds against Ghanaian people and destroying our water bodies. We have seen people on video collecting bribes. We have seen Charles Bissiou, who is, the president's baby at the presidency, and taking bribes and allowing people to go ahead and engage in Galamsey. As we speak up to now, we have not seen anything.
We know of Charles Bissiou's case. He was asked to step aside, in fact, when that issue broke. So to say Charles Bissiou is still at the presidency taking bribes will be unfair to the president.
My brother, he was asked to...
Apart from that, can I make a comment?
Okay, Honorable Minister, please.
Can I make a comment, please? Yes, Ruth, please indulge me. So in the case of, because you have just said that the committee that was set up was aiding the persons who were perpetrating the acts against our water bodies, that cannot be accurate. You may want to give a specific example, and even in that citing of the example, you talked about, you said we saw Charles Bissiou receiving bribes. I'm not sure that that is a matter of fact. A video was aired in which somebody gave Mr. Bissiou an envelope, and a narration was put on that video suggesting that Mr. Bissiou had received a bribe. When the journalist who put that piece together was invited by the police to provide more details and provide more evidence, I'm sure you are aware, he declined so to do. Now, if all we are going to do is to say that because we have seen a video of somebody taking an envelope and somebody narrating on it that that amounts to a bribe, then it is akin to what happened before the election of 2020, where a video was circulated of President Akufo-Addo receiving a campaign donation and a narration made on it. Indeed, it was followed up by press conferences that the president had received a bribe. You will notice that the persons who made that allegation and that narration quickly abandoned it almost immediately right after the election. If it was something genuine, I'd expect that they'll be carrying it on. The point I'm making is this. Allegations of corruption, Ruth, have to be backed by evidence that any third party standing by cannot even have questions about. And I believe that where those are brought to the fore, we can all agree and act on it. In the absence of that, Ruth, it will be a matter of my perception and my narration and my suspicion against you. And we can hardly make progress in that kind of situation.
Honorable Minister, before you take leave of us, when the military issue happened at WA, the military high command took that bold step that they are taking responsibility of the hospital bills. We are told of this Ejura story, and the young boy, one of whom was admitted at hospital, got one of his legs amputated. The family is calling on government to assist with the bills. Has it got into government's attention, and will government take that step?
I personally was in a conference call between myself, the Chief of Staff, and the Ashanti Regional Minister, where instructions have been given that persons who unfortunately got injured have to be attended to as quickly as possible. And our expectation will be that the minister responsible for the region does that as quickly as possible. But let me take advantage of the question that you've given to once again reiterate government's condemnation of any form of excess by security agencies without justification. Listen, the right to demonstrate is a right that all of us have. I will go on demonstrations someday if I feel that something is worth demonstrating against. All of us must work towards a society where we can be sure that when that day comes that we go out demonstrating, we will be safe. And I think it is in that context that we must support the committee of inquiry to find the facts and hold the persons culpable to be punished.
All right, Ruth, maybe in wrapping up, you can have your last word on this.
Anyway, it's laughable what the minister is saying. Exactly, that is his duty to make the government look so good, and that is what he's doing, so I'm not surprised about it. But what I'm saying is that Charles Bisu, you are saying, was asked to step aside. What happened to the money that he received? What was the purpose for the money? What did he use it for? We still want to know about it. We have been in this country where Kennedy Japan, a member of their own party, has come out to say and accuse the minister, the then minister for Environment, Science and Technology, Professor Frimpong, and his son Jojo actually grossly engaged in Galamsey. And we heard on video, we heard their voices exchanging and saying that the party needed money, MPP party, they needed money, and that is the reason why he had given them the go-ahead to engage in Galamsey. So if this is not corruption, then I don't know what else it is. As we speak, 500 excavators were missing, and we do not know where the 500 excavators are up till now. In fact, we have been in this country seeing the other ones, what's the name, Abubuya flying, and we do not know where these Abubuya, over 300 and so of them, where they are as we speak. So if we demand that corrupt acts should be dealt with according to the law, people must be incarcerated, people must be, must be taken to court for the law to take its course. I think that is in the right order, and we demand same.
All right, Honorable Ruth thinks that government is not really dealing with the issue of corruption as expected.
It is a right to have that view. We live in a democracy. People have different views. Before the election, you recall the extent to which our colleagues on the other side expressed some views which they believed were shared by the majority of Ghanaians. And at the end of the election, we found out that no, majority of Ghanaians do not necessarily share that view. I will not, may I say, make comments that undermine her right to hold her view by saying that she's been put up by her party to make these comments. No, I respect the fact that she genuinely believes in what she's talking about, and that we're having a decent democratic conversation. I don't think that her thoughts are laughable or to be dismissed. I think that it is important we treat each other's views with respect. We can disagree, but at the end of the day, the people of this country make a judgment on the arguments that we make. Once again, I commend them for a largely successful exercise today. I commend the police and the security agencies for guaranteeing their safety. And I look forward to us deepening our conversations that will make our democracy stronger.
All right. Thanks so much for speaking to us on this.
I would have really loved to ask the minister if he's aware that $15 million judgment debt has just been secured for one of the companies that whose excavators, got bent. What is that? For me, I see that as a conduit. I feel that it's a create, loot and share, mafia sort of. Because otherwise, the law is saying that anything that is retrieved from this action, they should retrieve those things and send them to the police for safekeeping. When did the law change? And why did they decide to go ahead and ban those excavators, resulting in judgments that Ghanaians are supposed to use their tax to pay? I'm sure,
Ruth, going that line, I mean, the NPP can also come back and say this whole millions of dollars, which was
$170 million
in UK will be attributed to the NDC, and the discussion will never end.
Because we asked them to stop that, to abrogate that.
Okay, I think Kojo Oppong has a response to that. So let's listen to him. What's your response to that?
No. I mean, I think if we want to have a conversation about judgment debts, we can have a calm conversation about judgment debts and not get extremely I say flippant in the kind of accusations. She just said that she thinks that the judgment debt is a conduit to create loot and share. Respectfully, if you take your time to look at the case and the facts of that case, it will not support that very flippant argument that is being made. I think that we must be honest in saying that the people of Ghana do not want a scenario where actions of public officers culminate in judgment debts against the state, and that where public officers take actions that culminate in judgment debts against the state, those public officers must be held accountable. It is not because that public officer is your brother or my brother, therefore I say it is your family or my family. I think that if we take our time and analyze this, you, for example, raise a question about the judgment debt in the energy sector, where in the face of excess capacity, somebody signed contracts that are going to get Ghana paying about $1.9 billion. If you look at the clauses in those contracts, The clauses say that from the day of signing the contract, even before you go to Parliament for ratification, it is a guarantee period. What that means is that from the day that contract was executed, even before it goes to Parliament, when you eventually do terminate, a judgment debt is occasioned. There are genuine questions to be asked, and I can agree with Ruth that, so who signed this contract? What was the motive? Why did this person agree to these terms? What is the liability or the responsibility of the one who in turn canceled this contract and said that if I look at 1.9 billion as against 170 million, would rather do away with the 1.9. We can have an honest, dispassionate conversation about that. I'm a young person hoping to grow up in a country that doesn't have contract debts or judgment debts on its head for myself and my children to pay. We can do that. But I don't think that it serves anybody's purpose to now begin to basket it all together and use words that it is a conduit for somebody. The expression create, loot, and share was quite clearly a finding that the Supreme Court of the Republic of Ghana made on a specific person on a specific transaction. I don't want to make it partisan.
Unfortunately, that's all time.
But what is important is that we organize our things in a manner that bodes well for the future generations to come.
All right. Unfortunately, that's all time would allow for this interaction. But thanks so much for your time on Newsnight. So via Zoom, we have an engaging the Information Minister, Kojo Oppong Nkrumah. Also in studio, we had the Deputy National Youth Organizer for VNDC, Ruth Della Sedo. Thanks so much for joining us on Newsnight.
We didn't talk about a demonstration.
we would have a part 2 of this.
Okay, certainly. I think that would be very necessary.
Certainly.
Yeah, that would be. I just wanted to ask the minister that really, how many times did the Attorney General represent us in court?
Okay.
And all of that. I feel that intentionally they decided to lead us to where we are today. And unfortunately, this country is bleeding. We are supposed to cough up 170 million because of their negligence.
We'll have another engagement. Thanks so much for your time on Newsnight. So this is Newsnight on Metro Television. We go for a break and return shortly with more. Do stay.
Cloth handkerchief gets dirty and wet after wiping your sweat or blowing your nose with it. Keeping a dirty handkerchief in your pocket or bag is very unhygienic. Reusing it increases your chances of getting sick from germs. That is why I always use Flora disposable handkerchiefs. Flora disposable handkerchiefs is disposable, thus making it a more hygienic option. It's thick and very absorbent. With 10 tissues in a pack, Flora disposable handkerchief is better than a cloth handkerchief. The Flora toilet roll, Flora multi-purpose paper towels, Flora table napkins, and Flora box tissues in a shop near you. For bill purchases, call Delta Paper Mail on 0243 033 033.
Yenim sa upe football pa. And nothing a high sense at sponsor Euro 2020. Edia Mauno. Nesa sunti na yatete TV so say who? Edia Mauno. A Hisense Euro 2020 TV Super Promo. Now who brand new Hisense TV and board that for pictures near clear na color near deep sound quality this one it here Hisense TV so the entry power about down one access you are akona utusa barefoot. 18th June, Akofim 11th July. A Hisense Euro 2020 TV Super Promo. Emma Refisa Hisense and Kwan Emma 5 years warranty. A Hisense Euro 2020 TV Super Promo. Akosuwa Hisense showrooms at Ghana for Nanina. What you dear Nansenya? Hisense everyday prices for everyday people. Hisense official sponsor at the Euro 2020.
You're welcome back to the program. Still watching News 9 here on Metro Television. Next to a story. The first day of the hearing by the three-member committee tasked by the Interior Minister to investigate the circumstances which led to the death of Muhammad Ibrahim Kaka and two others in Ajura has ended. The hearing, which began around 10 o'clock in the morning at the Prempeh Assembly Hall in Kumasi, saw the Ashanti Regional Minister presenting a video clip to the committee as an exhibit. Here are excerpts of today's sitting.
The intelligence on 29 June 2021, I requested Lieutenant Colonel Pipra to again send some personnel to go and support the police. I took this decision. The police, maintenance of peace and security in the region. The commanding officer, as I requested, dispatched some personnel to Ajura to support the police in the maintenance of peace and security. Later in the day, while I was in the meeting of the regional ministers, at AH Hotel in East Legon, Accra, I received unfortunate news that there had been shooting during the maintenance of peace in the Ajura, and 2 lives have been lost. And others injured. I also received information that some properties had.
We'll definitely bring you more on that as the days go by. It's now time to bring you the latest in business, and Winston is here. Hello, Winston.
Hello, Ifia.
What's coming up in business?
In business, it appears crude oil prices have gone up by 0.1%, and this and more stories on the world of business. Stay tuned for more. And now to our first business story. Today, fire officers still had to battle to douse flames more than 24 hours after fire gutted Makola Market on Monday, as traders still count their losses. Government officials, including Trade Minister Alan Kojo Chirimantain, AMA boss Mohamed Ni Ejei-Sowa, are inspecting the market to assess the extent of damage. Again, they have promised government's will to compensate affected traders. Henry Kwesi Bedu visited the market and has the rest of the story.
Traders count their losses a day following a fire that ravaged over 100 shops at the Makola Market here in Accra.
And you said you deal in cosmetics, right? Today, have you been able to climb up there to see your shop?
Yes, well, I was able to climb up, and it's up to ashes now. There's nothing to pick up from there.
You didn't pick a single thing?
No, I didn't pick anything from there. Everything is black and dark.
The traders were asked by the National Fire Service to assess the building and salvage the goods that were not affected by the flames after firefighters doused the flames Monday evening. But during the process, thick black smoke was seen emanating from the building, which started the fire again. According to the traders, the warehouse is said to be holding a lot of combustible materials ranging from fabrics, sanitary products, amongst others, thus causing the reignition.
I saw now beans, body splash, tina, pedicure, neoma, pons, foam, and some idea. I'm a tower slow. I saw now, I'm a tower. I said, I'm a canna to be doing the right time. 24 hours and
the traders say they can't fathom how the fire service is struggling to douse the blaze after more than 24 hours.
Are you even concerned that up until now they are unable to douse the flames completely?
Very. Now we are very, very concerned because we have other shops nearby, so we don't know what to do. We wake up and now we are here just hoping and protecting the other properties that.
Trade and Industry Minister Alan Kojo Tremantin and the Mayor of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Mohamed Ni Ajay Soa, and leaders of the Ghana Union of Traders Association were at the scene to assess the level of damage. Chairman of GUTA, Joseph Obin, urged the Ministry of Trade and Industry to institute a committee to probe the recent fire outbreaks in market centers.
What we are doing, we have told them to take their time to be able to salvage a few more things, and then after they settle in a day or two, they sit down and collate the volume that is involved, and then they itemize everything and then bring their list so that we can forward it to government for the necessary compensation. I don't want to even call it compensation, but providing some sort of comfort for the people.
Henry Pesi Bedu, Metro News, Makola.
Indeed, it is a heavy time for business traders in Makola. We pray a compensation comes to them quickly. On insurance front, the underwriting manager for Millennium Insurance, Francis Ni Okan-Korte, has called on traders to consider insuring their businesses. This, he said, will ease the burden on traders in case of any casualty. He said this on the back of the recent fire outbreak at the Makola market.
Makola per se is not a high-risk area. But to go on with your question, in the Insurance Act 2006, all commercial buildings need to be insured against fire, earthquake, storm, and the likes. So Makola per se, as I said, is not a high-risk area. It's all about accessibility. That's why most companies are shying away from insuring the place. But where even the fire gutted Georgina Stores area, most of them are insured. But it's rather unfortunate that millions have gone down the drain and we have some who have not insured. My advice to the traders is that they should stop the farmer nyame attitude and always trying to also call on government to help them in times of these uncertainties. We are there to compensate them whenever such uncertainty or eventualities happen. With Millennium Insurance, we have a lot of policies, but regarding the incident that just happened at the Makola market, we have fire and allied perils policy for them. We have combined fire and burglary, and we have asset all risk policy.
Now, on the interbank board today, the cedi traded against the dollar at 5 cedi 76 pesos and also traded against the pound sterling at 5 cedi 66 pesos. We bring you more on the forex and commodities market here on your screens. That's it for business here on News 9. My name is Winston Taki. Back to Efia and Nana entry for the rest of the bulletin.
As always, thanks so much for bringing us business update. We go for a break and return shortly with the latest in sports with Phil John Corte. Tuesday.
In Ghana and in Africa, there is only one place to look to get that luxurious design and decor for your offices and homes. Visit Jamila Home. We give you the climax of luxury wherever you find yourself. Presidential and executive office furniture, living room set, dining set, stunning mirrors, adorable wallpapers, lovely king and queen size beds, valuable antiques and antique goods, beautiful chandeliers and more. Into the bargain, we provide caring customer service, prompt delivery service, skilled and artistic full house design and decor services, and free decor ideas for your space. Our products and service is unparalleled, boasting of top-tier clients all over the globe. Jamila Home, home of first-class quality furniture, beautiful chandeliers, and antiques.
My name is Phil John Corte. It's time for sports. Let's start with what is happening in the United Kingdom, specifically London. That is the European Championship, and the Azuris of Italy are currently drawing with La Joya of Spain in the first semi-finals of the European Championship. The winner will take on the winner of England and Denmark tomorrow at the same venue. The European Championship finals will be held on Saturday, and currently the Italians, like I told you, they are playing against the Spaniards. It's goalless, close to halftime. We'll give you all the details in a subsequent bulletin. Remember that, like I told you, the finals will be on Saturday, and England and Denmark will play tomorrow. Let's get to the corridors of the Ghana Football Association, where the disciplinary committee of the FA has banned Kotoko's coach Mariano Barreto and captain Yimano Jaife.
As my players and me, myself, we need to work
The Constitutional Court sentenced Zuma to a 15-month jail term for contempt of court after he defied an order to give evidence at a corruption inquiry in February. That's all time and allowed for this edition of News Night on Metro Television. We came to you from the Ikia Boahema studio here at North Region Accra. My name is Ifia Faswa.
My name is Nana Yoenchi. Good night.
The search for a reliable partner in dealing with your U-turn bus needs has been made easier and convenient with SA Automobile. SA Automobile, formerly U-turn Ghana Limited, has been in the business of offering quality U-turn product and service